Hey guys, Youngblood with you, and in our Starmap journey, we're moving into a smaller system with a pretty cool history overall, and that's Castra. Castra was initially discovered back in 2544 as part of the human expansion, and really searching by military pathfinders along the Perry Line. Now this jump point to Castra was discovered just 14 years after our first encounter with the xi'an. Now the system is in orbit around this big, beautiful, bluish-white star, but the system overall is extremely small, and was initially determined to really not be worth a whole lot. That opinion was really different though for some of the military heads who saw how important Castra could be as a strategic headquarters for what could have ended up being a pretty massive war with the xi'an. This became even more relevant according to the lore when a jump point from Castra to xi'an-occupied space was discovered. Now it's worth taking note here though that while there are 5 jump points to other systems in the star map right now, 2 are going to be unclaimed, 2 are to UEE systems, and 1 is to a developing system, but there's not any strategically linking us to a known xi'an system. So while none of those officially state they're xi'an, there could be a presence in maybe one of the 3 non-UEE locations, or there could just be a new jump point waiting to be discovered in the game as the old one may have just fallen apart. The name Castra, though, was taken from ancient Roman technology for military land in a defensive position, and that name along with the earlier history made it pretty clear what this place was going to be about. And as the military moved in, Castra 1 was quickly identified as being kind of this typical inner world with nothing real valuable there. You can't terraform it, there's no real resources, so it didn't leave really any value to anybody but the military. So this quickly became home to a famous bombing range, and the surface now permanently is scarred from these training runs. And it's apparently this eerie but beautiful sight with the bluish glow of the star, but it now has the nickname for the resourceless planet. It's now been named as Bullseye. Castra 2, on the other hand, was quickly terraformed to become the military headquarters in the system, and even though the name for Castra 2 isn't real fondly appreciated by the now residents, which is Cascom, it was initially Castra Command. It was just shortened to Cascom, and it's just been kind of stuck with that name. It was even stated that Castra 2 was terraformed in such a hurry just to get ready for the military action that there's now this permanent heavy cloud presence in the atmosphere that could have probably been avoided with more careful work. The system even became so militarized that they ended up building this large orbital platform in space to provide construction zones and repairs and rearming facilities for capital ships and bombers engaged in a potential war effort with the xi'an. Eventually, though, after the Messer regime ended up collapsing, the UEE tried to warm up the relationship with the xi'an, and to show their level of commitment, the UEE significantly reduced their military presence in Castra, which then opened up for civilians to come in and enter the system, which ended up seeing a large number of companies like Kruger Intergalactic, the guys that make the Merlin and Archimedes, as well as just people moving in to take advantage of the cheap rent and real estate. And tourism now is even becoming kind of an agenda that's being pushed by the government there to try and change that overall image of Castra. Castra 2 is where most of the action is in the system, and the most famous city on Cascom is high up in the mountain of Ulysses, and it's above the cloud layer, and it's called Sherman. Now, it's an extremely secure location. It's been just dug into the mountain, and based on the surroundings, it's supposed to be just absolutely beautiful, with the nickname of Island in the Sky. Now, my favorite comment in the lore is from a guy named Admiral Klein, who saw the city for the first time and said, "It's the city of my dreams. It's picturesque and it's protected by big guns," which is pretty hilarious. The tourism that we mentioned is happening here, not only for the view, but for the sightseeing of the city's historic architecture as well. That's been left in perfect condition as it was run by the military. So in the 2800s, President Novoselov, or I'm sorry, I'm probably brutally killed that name, but he tried to change the image of the city, kind of going along with what previous people that were running the place were trying to do, because he wanted to bring in more business and residents and workers, and it eventually worked, because today we have high-end stores, restaurants, hotels, and a whole bevy of businesses that are geared towards the middle and upper-class travelers. And to attract an even more diverse crowd, they've recently been promoting extreme sports like paragliding and potentially some winter sports. So if you're feeling like getting crazy, head over to Cascon. So Castra overall is small. I mean, that's pretty much it, but it's interesting. And I do think there are good reasons to come here. Now, for those of you who haven't played Elite Dangerous, seeing these blue stars is an extremely gratifying experience, and I think it's something that you're going to want to make sure that you cross off your space bucket list. Additionally, just coming to visit Sherman and taking in the sights on Castra 2 is just a good recreational option. But if money is what you're after, we do know that Castra is a prime destination for cargo haulers to sell materials and pick stuff up. And I would have to imagine that there's also going to be some level of xi'an technology or goods that are located here, or if nothing else, it could be a good launching place to go out and do trade with the alien race. Explorers have some interesting systems surrounding this area, and you could potentially find new jump points or just new locations of value. I think pirates may take advantage of the known shipping lanes here to come in from places like Nyx or Pyro to do their leads and then escape. And with that type of activity probably happening here, escorts will probably play off of this and end up making some money in the Castra system as well. Now, as far as fuel goes, there isn't a gas giant here to take advantage of. So I think Starfarer pilots may be able to bring their gas in here and end up selling it at a premium. Keep in mind, you're not going to have a place to fill it up, but then again, the Starfarer carries a lot of fuel. And finally, there isn't anything here to mine, so unless this place just happens to be on your route, I would probably consider leaving the Orion at home because I don't think you're going to find anything to do with it in Castra. So there you have it. That's the Castra system. Really small, but I think it's got some value. It's a pretty interesting place, and one that I'm actually really looking forward to coming to visit in-game. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. Otherwise, as always, stay tuned for a whole lot more content. I hope you guys have yourselves a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.